Cup final remains a unique event.
Wow, what a day.
The thing to remember is that it was one of the few games that was televised live in the 1980s, so that everyone did have the opportunity to see it.
The Cup final is a national, or was a national institution. You know, it was something that everybody sat down on Cup final day and watched the build-up and the match, and the non-partisan supporters would traditionally follow the underdog. So I think City had a lot of people rooting for them.
I remember the house was all decorated up, and I decorated my bedroom window, had a hat very similar to this, scarf, lots of sky blue fabric, and there was a really good sort of atmosphere around the city because loads of houses were decorated up like that.
I thought, oh, what can I do? There's something a bit different, so I thought I'll dress up, and I got scarves. I cut the ends off the scarves, put them all on my legs. I painted blue and white stripy arms all on my face, and I got a hat. I remember it was like a bunny rabbit hat with ears and that, and I sprayed it all sky blue, and all my face, everything. I was covered top to toe in sky blue.
Well, I was in the British Army at the time, stationed in Cyprus, and as we got to the quarter-finals, I went absent without leave and got on an Italian freighter and got back in time for the Wembley final. It was all guesswork, and I managed to escape a charge of absenteeism.
Coventry City had been in a few semi-finals of other tournaments, but they suddenly get to a final. It was huge.
From what I recall, everybody, you know, even sort of teenage girls who weren't particularly into football, it was, you know, it was such a big thing, and it was a big, exciting thing, and everyone was going around singing that song that they'd recorded, and oh, we hate Spurs, even though we hadn't got a clue really.
Everybody was just so excited. It was like, you know, the night before your first child's born almost. It was a massive feeling.
Build up came way before the day, because I went to find a hotel. I think was very important. So we went to Marlow. I knew a hotel in Marlow called the Complete Angler, which was by the river. And we got superstitions in football. You know, and me, it was 2 magpies I wanted to see, but the greatest one was a wedding. If you saw a wedding on the way to a match, I was convinced we would win it. And so I got the players thinking the same way. They were looking for magpies, they were looking for weddings. So right opposite the Complete Angler is a church. So we done our homework. We went and asked, was there a wedding the day before? On the cup final day, you know, and yes. So we got in touch with the bride and groom and said, would you like to come across? We'll get a boat laid on to bring you across the river and come and meet the players. And they did that, and Kilcline had the great experience of taking a garter off a young bride and handing a bunch of flowers. And, you know, that was part of brainwashing the players that we were going to be there.
I was up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, dawn, because I was just ready. I wasn't up like nervous or couldn't sleep. I slept really well, but then I got up and I just wanted to be at Wembley. I just wanted to play. And I was thinking, well, what can I do? Nobody else is up. It's 5 o'clock. And we were in the hotel right by the river, and the mist was on the floor, and it was you know, you could see it was going to be a beautiful day. And I got my gear on and went jogging around the grounds of the hotel for about half an hour, just jogging, just get a bit of nervous energy out. And then by that time, Dave Phillips was up and we had breakfast, and then that was it. It was off then. And then, of course, by the time breakfast was over, the world's press were in on top of you.
Obviously, when I picked the papers up, there's headlines on the back page saying McGrath at all-time huddle. So that put a bit of pressure on me. But obviously, you get a few nerves, but you're quietly confident. You know, we had a nice, relaxing day, or relaxing morning, and then off to the ground.
The amazing thing was we had a police escort. Was how quiet it was when I got on the coach, and I didn't like that, because we always had a game of cards and we always joined in a little bit of back chat going on somewhere. Somebody was being taken the mickey out of, and it wasn't happening. So I said, right, stop the coach, we'll get the cards out and we'll get going. Got the players that normally played to sit around their card tables and have a game of cards, until they got within 5 miles of Wembley, and then they all stopped and they just wanted to drink in the occasion. And that was the moment of all moments for me, was going down that coach, on that coach going down Wembley Way and seeing all the supporters with the scarves, all shouting, all waving, all wanting, all hoping, all praying that we were going to do the job. Wonderful, wonderful moment.
The things beforehand, queuing up and people climbing in over the top of the gates to try and get in, because it was just rammed. Everybody wanted to get there early to make the most of the atmosphere, because obviously we waited 104 years for it, you know, so people were going to get there early.
Well, Spurs have been there loads of times, and they were thinking, another FA Cup final. But it was all new to us. I mean, we're watching this happen, unfold in front of us. We've watched it on the telly 1,000 times. But for your team to be doing it, and your players, surrounded by your friends, and the atmosphere was just, you can't buy things like that.
You wait in the tunnel, it seemed eternity, in front of your team. David Pleat in front of his team, and he looked across at me, he said, "John, you nervous?" I said, "Just a little bit, David." He said, "Well, just have this in mind, we've been here 7 times and never lost." I said, "Nor we." And we walked out, and he said, "Well done, that's a good response, that was." He said, "I didn't expect that one."
And now that moment of blinding noise.
So you walk up this literally a dark tunnel, and you can see the brilliant sunshine at the end of it. And then when you brake from the end of that tunnel, it almost lifts you off your feet. I mean, the colour and the spectacle and the noise just carries you. You go from that tunnel to the halfway where you line up to meet the dignitaries, and I'm sure you don't even walk. I'm sure you just get carried there.
And then you go out and you meet the Duchess of Kent and line up, and I couldn't hear a word she was saying. I was saying, "Thank you, ma'am," "Yes, ma'am," and Kilcline was laughing. He said, "You didn't hear a word, did you, Sue?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you didn't answer any of the questions properly." He said.
I don't remember anyone predicting that Coventry would win, except that the FA Cup is that kind of competition. It's only 2 teams in one match.